Continuing with the Maimer. We're continuing with the Maimer where we left off earlier, which is a Maimer of Shabbos Parsha Vayeshev, the Shabbos of Parsha Vayeshev, and it is in the year 5731. In English, it is 1970, page 367. So the Rebbe continues. The Yashle Kasher there, we can connect it in Mamaar Vayeshev de Bramasko Lahovim Mashakosav B'Chayim Admur Azokim. We can connect it and relate it with what is mentioned in the Maimer, which begins with the words, to understand what it says, Meitz Chayim, which is a Maimer that Alter Rebbe said. Which this is the Maimer on which the Rebbe based his Maimer a few days earlier, the 19th of Kislev. Hasidic discourse was based on this Maimer, and here the Rebbe continues this following Shabbos and elaborates on what the Alter Rebbe discusses in the Maimer, in the Maimer, which is from 55568, which is 2000, which is 1808, 1808. Shenemar be Yutas Kislev, which the earlier Maimer that the Rebbe said was delivered on Yutas Kislev, Shemevayir Shemahefresh ben Yekudim va'Akudim. On page 367, the Rebbe explains that this is the difference between a Nekudim and Akudim, which are two different worlds. One is Nekudim, that everything is in points and revelations in vessels, and then there is Akudim, which is 10 revelations in one vessel. Shebetchilas HaMaimer, in the beginning, in the Maimer, the Hasidic discourse Mevayir, closes in Eiros V'Kelim. He explains the general union of Eiros V'Kelim, which means the general union of revelations and vessels. V'lochein be'aksav yad o yekosef tchila inyan Eiros V'Kelim l'mayla. Therefore, in the manuscript of the Maimer, it was written originally the inyan of Eiros V'Kelim as they are in the higher worlds. And then he crossed it out on the word Lamaila, how it is in the higher heavens, but he just left plainly the title, the inyan of revelations, Eiros V'Kelim, revelations and vessels as they are in general.
Who crossed it out?
It seems like the one that wrote it realized later that in the contents of the Maimer he discusses not only as it is in the higher heavens, but as it is in general. So therefore he crossed out the word as it is in the higher heavens.
But Alter Rebbe or the Tzemach Tzedek?
It could be the Tzemach Tzedek. The Alter Rebbe generally didn't edit his Maimer. It could be Tzemach Tzedek, although the Rebbe doesn't really specify who. But this is basically how it reached us, the manuscripts. The Eiros, which is revelation, although revelation means revealing, on page 367, is considered concealed. The inyan Agilui mitzad hakelim dafke, and the inyan of Gilui, revelation, comes mitzad the kelim, mitzad the vessels. Because the Eiros alone, if they don't have, it's like a light without a wick. If the flame does not have a wick, there's nothing to grab onto. So b'meila, the flame disappears. The same thing is also the Eiros. The Eiros, the light, the revelations are in nature something that they try to be concealed. They yearn to become connected with their source, and b'meila they're concealed. The inyan Agilui, on the other hand, where does the revelation come? It comes because of the vessel. The vessel is sort of the wick which grabs onto the revelation, and it contains the revelation, and it transmits the revelation to a lower world. And he explains it based on a moshul from the Nefesh Adam, a parable from the Nefesh Adam, from a person, from the personal traits in a person. Mipsari echze, which means that a person sees godliness from the flesh, from his own flesh, as it's mentioned in Iyov. The keichas ha-nefesh, the personal traits alone from the nefesh are, in other words, as they are in the soul itself, in behelim, are concealed. The personal traits, which are the different traits and character traits that a person has, as they are in the soul, it is part of the soul, it's concealed. When is it revealed? When it is enclosed in the limbs of the body. Or dafke in boim begilui. This is when it is being brought down in a practical sense, and therefore this is when it reveals the traits that are in the soul of a person. And therefore, when the person, which as is mentioned in the previous minor, that when the person is misgalgal, when the person ends up begufei datzach, which means when the person ends up in a body of a daimim, a silent world, or a plant world, or an animal world, so it's behelim. The nefesh ha'adam is not functioning in an obvious way, because these three worlds, which are the silent world, or the animal world, or the plant world, or the animal world, are not vessels for it, and therefore they cannot reveal the neshama and its features and its traits, its potentials, capabilities.
A person's nefesh winds up in datzach?
If a person comes down in a gilgal of datzach, so you don't see in a behemoth, you will not see a person there. You won't see the functions of a neshama. The same thing is also in a person. When the person encloses himself, when the seichel of the person is not in the brain of the person. If it's in the brain of the person is the appropriate vessel for it. But if it's not in the brain of the person, and it comes into the hand of the person, so you will not see the revelation of intellect, anything intellectual. Hu behelim, it's concealed. Now the same thing is also l'mayla in the higher heavens. Shagilu yaseh spheres, that when is there a revelation of the 10 attributes? This is through the vessels, spiritual vessels. And again, spiritual vessels, spiritual revelations.
But the koyach ha-seichel can't enclose itself in another area.
So you're saying it's mitzad the seichel? It's not there. It is not appropriate vessel. The eyes are for vision, the ears are for hearing, and the brain is for intellect, intellectual topics. It comes out, a person he can't put in seichel into another eva, another limb. So the same thing is also with the spheres, that the 10 spheres, the revelation of the 10 spheres is mitzad the kelim, mitzad the vessels. Avalo eres mitzad hatzmam, pshitas vehelim. The eres alone are completely removed. Pshitas means undressed from, beyond, removed completely. The helim, and it's also concealed. Right, there's no description. You can't characterize it and classify it in any way. And the helim, it's concealed. So then the Rebbe discusses now the structure of the Hasidic discourse of the Alter Rebbe, the order, the sequence. The Achashem Mevayer Klolos Inyan Deiros V'Kelim. That after the Alter Rebbe explains the inyan of the inyan of the revelations and vessels. So then the Alter Rebbe explains the inyan as it is from below to above, and then as it is from above to below. And here the Rebbe brings the example. What does it mean from below to above? The seichel in the nefesh ha'adam is actually created from the vessels of Asiya. Okay, I'm just trying to figure out what he's speaking here from below to above. So basically, okay, so we're up to page 367. Page 367. We just started Mamaar Vayeshev a few minutes ago. What the Rebbe is saying, the Rebbe is referring back to the Maimer of the Alter Rebbe. And this is the Maimer already, the Shabbos, the Shabbos following the 19th of Kislev, where the Rebbe elaborated on the Hasidic discourse of the Alter Rebbe. So now the Rebbe discusses what the Alter Rebbe is discussing, that there's a difference between Eres and Kelim. Eres means a concealed, because the nature of Eres is to go up higher, so it's removed from the vessel. It is like fire that is going up higher, so it's an inyan of histalkus, inyan of helam.